Into the ball game is Paul Mokeski, who's become kind of a cult hero in Milwaukee, Tommy.
Fred Roberts hits Mokeski at the other
end. And good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rick Hampton with my great friend, the big fella, Paul Mokeski. I think we all know who Big Mo wants to win the game tonight. You are representing, brother.
I kind of look like a coach, don't I?
Absolutely, man.
If I had one of those.
Hey, Mo, were you a Packer fan before you went to Milwaukee?
No, no, I didn't know who they were. No, I was more of a Rams fan.
Growing up in L.A., while you were there, they were still playing in Milwaukee at Old County Stadium.
When I was there?
When you were in Milwaukee?
No.
The Packers weren't playing at County Stadium then?
No, they played like one game a year there.
Yeah, they played one game. They would go to Milwaukee.
Yeah, but they weren't playing. They played all their other games.
Well, in Green Bay, yeah. But they used to always go there for one game, for sure. But you would go over there for the games when you could?
Yeah, Don Mikowski, Tim Harris, all these guys were my friends, and I played golf in the summer. So, yeah, I get sideline passes and go out with them after the game and stuff, yeah.
They never try to suit you up, man. Let's sneak Mo into the roster for the weekend.
Hell no. When you're on the field, you hear what those sounds like. I'm telling you, it sounds like a car crash. I mean, I'm not kidding.
It really does, man.
I mean,
it really
can
does.
you imagine me in pads, though? And cleats?
Welcome to all our viewers out there. Please hit us up with your questions and comments. This is a Monday night football edition of We Got Next. That'll be a great game. Green Bay and Philly coming up in about an hour or so.
Yeah, Ricky, if you put me in a uniform with pads and cleats, I'd be 7'3", 300 pounds, baby.
But you could block field goals.
Yeah, I could play tight end. I could catch it.
Yeah, you'd be the goal line threat, man, for sure. You had good hands.
Yeah, until you get hit.
Until you get hit. Hey, Mo, it's some really interesting things going on in the world of sports right now. Last week we had the gambling scandal in the NBA with Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones from his days in Cleveland with the poker games. And now I was reading today, or it could have been yesterday when this story broke, about two Cleveland Guardian pitchers who have been indicted for manipulating pitches. Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. Clase is one of the best relievers in baseball a year ago. And he was off to another strong start this year before he got suspended. And Mo, when I heard about it, I'm like, how can you manipulate pitchers to gamble off of?
It's prop betting, just like in basketball. Over under on Ricky's points, over and under on Ricky's rebounds, over and under on Ricky's minutes played, over and under on Ricky's rebounds. It's the same. They were betting. You can bet on every pitch, ball, strike. You can bet on the speed of the pitch, how fast it is. You can bet on that. And then the main bet, I guess they were getting caught with is, I guess there's a bet that at this at bat, if the pitcher throws a ball in the dirt and it bounces to the plate, that's a bet. And that's easy for a pitcher to do, right? Oh, it slipped, man. I don't know, it slipped. I mean, Well, because the prop bets are what's doing all this. They're not. You don't even have to manipulate the game. You just have to throw one bad pitch, one slow pitch, one fast pitch, one certain pitch. You can bet on curveball, slider, or fastball. You can. So it's so easy to do now. It's too easy to do.
I mean, who would want to bet on something like that? I mean,
People bet on everything, Ricky. I'm in Vegas, man. I got a couple of friends here. They're making money on betting on ping pong overseas. They're betting on ping pong matches that are played overseas. I watched them one time. It looks like two old guys playing in a garage.
and somebody's betting on it.
My friends are. They're winning money.
Unbelievable, man.
Okay.
That somebody could do that.
Okay, Ricky, you can bet on the length of the national anthem at the Super Bowl. How long it is. That's a bet. I mean, come on, you can bet on anything. Oh, here's another bet at the Super Bowl. You can bet on the color of the Gatorade they dump on the winning coach. That's a bet. That's a real bet. Red, blue, orange, it's a real bet.
Wow. I'm sure this is not what. Well, maybe it is because everybody's making money. What you were telling me a couple of years ago about the amount of money that's made in Las Vegas every day.
Well, when it was going a little while back, the total casinos every month in Vegas were profiting $1 billion a month. All the casinos combined were making $1 billion. I mean, there's probably about 20, 25 casinos in Vegas area, and they're making $1 billion. They were making $1 billion a month. It's down now because of travel and tariffs and all this other garbage. But yeah, they were on a roll for a while.
So when a guy wins 10 grand and he goes up, man, I killed Vegas. I made 10 grand. That's not even a drop in the bucket.
No, and I mean, people don't understand. Like, I just play blackjack, some craps stuff. There's baccarat. All the table games, they're $10, $25, $100 tables. Most of the money is made on slot machines. Nickel, dime, quarter slot machines. That's where all the money
play
is.
When I come out there.
That's where all the money is. I mean, you think, okay, these guys are betting 10,000 a hand off. Okay, that's great, but the money's in the machines.
Well, I did not know that.
Everybody put, somebody comes in, and sits down a machine and puts 20, 30 bucks in there and then leaves. Someone else sits down, does the same thing over and over and over again, 24 hours a day.
Mo, speaking of Green Bay, I was up there covering the game years ago, and there was a casino near the airport or right by the airport. I won $200 there.
What'd you play?
It was on a slot machine. I don't remember. Bro, I was the happiest guy. I get the hook.
I've been at that casino. I played at that.
I get the hook, man.
Yeah, I mean, you get excited. So
yes.
I play poker machines now, and I make some money on it because I can play a quarter machine and put in $1.25 every roll. And if I'm playing the right machine, there's some bets there. I win 200, 500. If I get a royal flush, which I've got a few of them here, I win $1,000 off the $100 I put in if I play it right. I mean, that draw gets you in.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it.
And then the main thing is getting out, because what you want to do is then you can, okay, maybe I'll win some more. And that's what the casinos bet on. I mean, they don't really, the big high rollers, they keep track of how much they lose and win when these guys are winning hundreds or millions of dollars. They keep track of that. And those are the guys that get the private jets and the limousines, everything's taken care of, all that stuff. But when you're playing, like if you go in a casino, play blackjack or craps or whatever, they keep track of how much you play. So I give the dealer $100. That's what they're keeping track of, because that eventually it's going to catch up. Enough people give the dealer $100, they're going to win they're going to win 60% of that money.
Well, check this out, Paul. Today, Major League Baseball announced that next season, the major sports books will place a $200 limit on pitch level micro bets, is what they call them, as well as excluding them from potential parlays.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that could help, but if it's a $200 minimum, I can get 100 people to bet, right?
Right.
I can get 100 people. Hey, give them each $200, and you place these bets for me at all these 30 casinos in Vegas, and then I'll call you when that's over, and I'll have you bet something else. So there's ways around everything, but that's a start. Because that's what tipped. I think the baseball was tipped off because they were betting like $100,000 or $200,000 on whether a pitch hits the dirt or not.
And that's exactly right, Paul. They saw inordinate amounts of bets being placed on, these little pitches in the dirt. But going back to go ahead.
That's how they caught the basketball guys, whether it's Malik Beasley or the other kid. They caught them because there was $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 bet on one bet of how many minutes they would play that night, and that's a red flag. That's just stupid. That's a red flag when you get caught.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, man. Well, we'll see how that works out for baseball. But I look at Ortiz, Mo. He's already earned $15 million in salary, and he was really about to get paid because he was one of the best relievers in the game.
Yeah, he was going to get ready to pay $15 million a year, right?
A year, yeah.
Probably sign a $100 million contract or something. But even people don't understand. Okay, so I'll say, Ricky, you make $10 million this year, right? That's a lot of money. I mean, you could do a lot with $10 million. But here's the deal: take $500 million, $5 million off of your $10 million for taxes, right? And then you have agent fees and everything. So now you're at $4 million, which is nice. That's a lot of money, but it's not $10 million.
Yeah.
So I'm making $10 million. That's nice. I mean, I'm making $4 million. That's good, but I can go with this guy that's going to help me out, and over the course of a year, he's going to add another $1 million in cash money under the table in my pocket.
Yeah, Ortiz was only making $2 million. So
yeah, so that's $1 million after taxes. That's he's making $600,000-$700,000 probably. Which is nice, but it's not what people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was reading or listening to something like they're talking about one of the NBA contract. The guy makes $38 million a year, except after everything, he makes $15 million a year. That's great, but it's not $38 million. It's not $38 million. That's different than $15 million. $15 million, we can do whatever we want, but it's not $38 million.
Yeah, absolutely. So that we're there with that, and baseball is aware of it. The NBA is aware of it because all we got is the integrity of the sport. They have to protect that. The officiating is so shaky now. People think stuff is going on when there's.
I mean, look at the WNBA. The officiating in the WNBA is really bad, and there's all questions about. Wait a minute, can't remember what game it was a few nights ago. The NBA. Oh, and I think Jaylen Brown in Boston. The last play of the game, he drove to the basket and got tripped, just his legs taken out from under him, and there was no call. And you tell me three refs are there. You can't. Everyone saw it. How can three refs not see that the guy slid in and took it? It's like a soccer play when they slide into the guy. That's the last minute of the game. How can you miss that? And that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little hoop more. And
Well, let me make this comment too. You talk about the integrity of the game is so important. It's important for the fans. It's important for the players. It's important for everybody involved. But here's the twist to it too. If there's more cheating and more cheating gets exposed, no one's going to bet on it. Then it's rigged, so no one's. So all the people that are making money betting, you won't be able to make money anymore. It's like a catch-22.
yeah, good point. That's a great point, Mo. Hey, let's before we get into anything else, Paul, we gotta pay our respects and I thank you to the great Lenny Wilkens, who passed away over the weekend at the age he died. Actually, yesterday at the age of 88 years old. Coached the Hawks and Supersonics and the Cavaliers. He was a great player. He was in the Hall of Fame as a coach and a player.
And the Dream Team.
And the Olympic team coach.
Yeah, the Olympic team, 3-time Hall of Famer.
Yeah, your thoughts about Coach Wilkins, Mo?
Well, I mean, obviously one of the greatest coaches. I played for some of the greatest coaches of all time. I played for Del Harris, Hall of Fame. I played for Don Nelson, Hall of Fame. I played for Chuck Daly, Hall of Fame. And I played for Lenny Wilkens, Hall of Fame. And those 4 coaches coached all but probably 2 of my 12 years. Wow. And all the coaches that I mentioned are different, have different ways of getting their teaching across, their feeling for the team, how they're going to run things. What the locker room feels like, what the whole organization feels like. Nelly was more, outside the box and loosey-goosey. Del Harris was straight arrow down the line. And Lenny Wilkens was kind of in between those. He was very smart, very basketball savvy and smart person. And you can see that. I've told you before, and I've talked to other people on shows, if a coach walks on a court in the NBA for practice and he's the new coach, the players can tell within 15 minutes if you know what you're talking about. They do. They can tell. You're faking it. You don't know what you're talking about, and then you got problems. Well, the coaches I mentioned and Lenny Wilkens, when you walked on the court, the first thing you notice is how he carries himself, how he communicates, how he respects everybody, and everybody respects him. And I played for him for 1 year in Cleveland. I had just finished up my 7 years in Milwaukee. They didn't offer me another contract. So I was a free agent, and I signed a 1-year deal with Cleveland in 89-90. And that was the year after the Michael Jordan shot over Craig Elo. That was the next year. And the Cavaliers were the next Chicago Bulls. That's what they're said to be. Brad Daugherty at center, Larry Nance, Hot Rod Williams, Mark Price at the point guard, and Ron Harper as the Michael Jordan. Ron Harper was the next Michael Jordan, and I joined that team to be a backup to Brad, and take it to the next level. And I signed a 1 year, and then Tree Rollins was on that team. And he was going to retire pretty soon. So the Cavs told me that, we're going to sign you a 3-year deal after this. If everything goes like it's supposed to go, and we do well in the playoffs, and we're looking at a championship. And that was the feel when I joined the Cavaliers. And I felt that from the first day in training camp. When I went, got taped up, and this is a new team. I know the guys. They know me, but I don't really know the guys. Haven't played with them before. And that first practice, one thing I knew is Ron Harper was the real deal, and so was Mark Price and all those guys. But I also noticed, I realized that Lenny Wilkens, Coach Wilkens, controlled that team in a great way. He never yelled. He hardly ever yelled. He just didn't have to. He communicated with the respect of the players. And, if he yelled, it was really an outrageous situation. And he was just really quiet, and the practices were really prepared, and everybody was ready for the games. And unfortunately, that year, Brad Daugherty had an injury on his foot that just wouldn't heal, and it eventually ended his career. And also, Ron Harper
Right.
was playing great, but some kind of stuff off the court maybe, and the Cavs didn't feel safe with him as a superstar, so they made one of the biggest mistakes ever. They traded Ron Harper to the Clippers for Danny Ferry. And Danny Ferry was at that time, he was drafted by the Clippers, and he said, I want to play there. So he was over in Italy playing. So he never even came and played for us. But then that year, the Clipper curse got Ron Harper, and he blew out his knee. And he was never the player he was going to be because he blew out his knee. Now, he went to the Bulls and the Lakers and won a lot of rings, but he wasn't the superstar then. So all those things combined made the thought. We lost to, I think, Philadelphia in the first round of the playoffs, and that kind of, the organization decided we're not going to stay on this path, and we're going to go in another direction. And unfortunately, I was a part of that direction. But one thing that really sticks out, I was with Brad Hurt. Tree started a lot. I started some. I came off the bench with Craig Elo and Steve Kerr, and we were kind of like instant offense and instant energy. So we were having a up and down year, but I remember thinking to myself, Coach Wilkins never talks to me. He never really says anything in practice to me. He doesn't get on me, but he does compliment me. And he's not really talking to me. And I didn't know this in my own head that he didn't really talk to anybody that much, just in a quiet tone. And I remember, like after the first month or so, we were on a road trip somewhere, and we had a 2-hour layover in Atlanta or wherever it was. And back then we flew commercial, and we had to go through the airport and wait and get our bags and everything. So we had a long layover somewhere, and I saw Coach sitting somewhere reading the USA Today. So I said, Coach, can I talk to you for a minute? He said, yeah, Mo, have a seat. And I just said, how do you think things are going? Well, we're struggling, but we'll be okay. I said, Coach, do you like me?
No, you didn't.
I did. He said, yeah, I really like you. I said, I just didn't know why you weren't talking to me or something. I didn't know if you like me. No, Coach. He said, no, Mo, I love you. You're a great fit for the team. All this. But that's how quiet he was, but also how approachable he was. And I think, I can't remember. You'll have to look it up. I just heard this. I'm going to do a Zoom roundtable on Saturday with a lot of players talking about Coach, like Jack Sickman, those guys talking about Coach. And somebody brought up that I think he was a head coach for the most years ever in the NBA. I think it was 20 years or something like that. And that says something right there.
Hey, Mo, is that roundtable? Is that going to be a public thing?
Yeah, it's on the new network, KNEW.
We'll get that give me that information. I'll put it up on the page.
Yeah, it's on Zoom. We're doing it on Zoom. It's on I think pretty much everything, Hulu, all that stuff. It's a big deal, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And welcome to everybody out there. We're getting comments about Coach Wilkins. Yeah, he was a cool dude, man. He was always cordial with the media. He almost kind of reminded me of a professor or something. Mo, he had this studious look about it.
Yeah, I mean, and also people, even then, even in the 90s, he was one of the few black coaches in the NBA. And a lot of the coaches that are coaching today looked up to him, and he was an example for them of how to handle yourself and how to behave and how to be a successful coach. And that's a huge step. And I bet if you talk to, all the coaches that are probably 40 years or older, in the NBA, they will all have a Lenny Wilkins story And I know, Dominique Wilkins, I heard talk. Steve Cruz, a friend of mine, I heard talk. They talked about how professional he was and how approachable he was, and he always had time for you, and you always felt like he was talking right to you. He wasn't distracted, and that's something. That's a huge asset.
Mo, make sure I'm sure you're gonna tell that story on the round table that you're gonna be on this weekend. That's a great story about you and Coach. Hey, Steve Kerr was on that team with you?
Yep, Steve Kerr. Me and Steve Kerr and Craig Elo came off the bench on that team. Yep.
Wow.
And sometimes Hot Rod Williams.
John Hot Rod Williams.
He was
from Tulane, right?
Yep. I mean, Hot Rod, Larry Nance, two super athletic players.
Woo, yeah.
Mark Price was a top level point guard. If Brad Daugherty stayed healthy, there could have been, even without Ron Harper, but with Ron Harper, we would have contested for a lot of those championships.
Anyway, Mo, I'm glad you mentioned Brad Daugherty, who went on to become a big stock car guy. I think
he's a NASCAR guy. He announces NASCAR now.
I think he still does that.
He and Larry Nance and Hot Rod had race like souped up cars all the time, and we played. You went out there to the Richfield Coliseum in the middle of nowhere with a huge parking lot, in a field of just fields. And after practice, they would have races and crazy stuff, and that was
what always tickled me about him was this: he had that North Carolina twang in his voice. Man.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, that dude. I played against some of the best centers, with Kareem and Parrish and McHale, and I played against Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing and Bill Walton. If Brad stayed healthy, he could have been right up there with those dudes. I mean, he was like when he was healthy, he was like a higher level Bill Cartwright. He had that big butt. He could really post up.
Yeah.
Great touch, right and left hook. He was a great passer. I mean, Sabonis-like passer from the post. Unbelievable passer. And, that team was very, very talented. I watched that game, the Jordan shot over Elo. Yeah. I watched that game from the Atlanta airport. We had just beat the Hawks in game 5 and moved on to the next round. And we're in the Atlanta airport drinking a couple beverages and watching that game on the screen. And we were like, man, Jordan's Jordan, but Cavs should have won that game and that series. And I put that in the back of my head as maybe that's the team I want to join if they don't sign me back here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you run into these guys, and I know you see them, I know living in Vegas especially, what do you guys do you talk about games much, or just the off court, like you talk about the racing cars? When you talk basketball, I know you guys catch up on the family aspect and all that. But when those basketball conversations come around, is it more the games you had, certain plays, or none of the above?
None of the above. When we talk basketball, we give crap to whoever we're talking to. I kicked your butt. We swept you in these playoffs. Yeah, but we kicked your butt in these, and that kind of stuff. We never really, unless it's a podcast or something, we never get into specifics. It's more. We're a family. I think there's only been 2,500 NBA players that have played more than 3 years ever in history, and and people are passing away, and it's really a family. And we don't talk about many specific games unless we beat you, and then you have to have a comeback. But it's more of a camaraderie, and we'll tell what the stories we'll tell is less about games and more about situations and funny stories. Like, remember when Hot Rod took his sweats off and he had his shorts on backwards? Remember that? Remember when, stuff like that,
Good thing they didn't have the internet back then, because he'd have gotten burned on that. Hey, Mo, so when you came to, no, you went to Cleveland in '88.
That was the second time. I was there in,
I know.
83 too. I was traded there from Detroit.
So yeah, Lambeer was gone. Lambeer was
I was traded for Lambeer.
oh
I was traded for him. It was
wow.
I was traded 15 minutes before the deadline. It was Phil Hubbard and myself were traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Kenny Carr and Bill Lambier. That was the trade.
Wow.
And then
'Cause
I,
you could have done the same job Lambeer did here.
yeah, I'm not as big as a jerk, but yeah, I
Yeah,
could shoot three. I could shoot threes. I could be physical. I could rebound. Yeah, maybe I would have turned into a jerk. I would have some championship rings, but maybe not as a good person.
yeah, you wouldn't have pissed as many people off as Lambeer did. That's for sure. But yeah, Coach Wilkins, man, well, hey, he was a Hall of Famer, and our condolences to the Wilkins family, one of the most respected coaches,
Ever.
yeah, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any
Also,
sport.
again, and Mo, he was an All-Star Hall of Fame player.
Yes. Yeah. I think he was a six-time All-Star. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, and also he was a point guard.
yeah,
And that was unusual back when he played. You know, it was like having a black quarterback back then.
yeah.
Everybody was scared of it.
Yeah, from Providence, Coach Wilkins, the great Lenny Wilkins. Mo, we were talking about the season. We're about, what are we, 10 games in to the year now, and a lot of the news is taking place off the court. I do want to mention this, the situation with John Morant. We talked about it a little bit last week, and it looked clearly he does not want to be in Memphis anymore. But I'm hearing that people don't want him in their town either. I mean, if you want to just give him to somebody, but if the Grizzlies were looking to make a big haul by trading him, it's not going to happen.
No, I mean he's got a huge salary. I'm not sure what it is. And he's had trouble off the court with gun situation, been suspended, been injured. Here's the problem in the NBA. When you have problems off the court and then other teams find out that the team you're on doesn't want you anymore, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's why I would tell players all the time, just act like you're happy, just fake it. And that means if you want to get out of there, you need your trade value to be up where the team will actually trade you. You can't have it come down because then, they're not going to give you away for nothing. But it's unfortunate because we were talking about him 3 or 4 years ago about being the face of the league, right? He was the face of the league. Young guy, came up, wasn't recruited in college, and signed at Murray State, a small college, and then drafted. And his athleticism, his smile, his infectious attitude, and it's all gone out the window. He destroyed it. He destroyed it with the first situation with the gun in Denver. Then he repeated it with another situation showing a gun on Instagram, just silly. And now this. And, everybody knows he doesn't want to be there. Everybody knows that they don't really want him there anymore. So you're in kind of limbo. If you're Memphis, you got to say, okay, are we going to bite the bullet on this thing and just move on? Or are we going to hold our ground and hope his value goes up? Because I think he's averaging 25 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, his numbers are there, but numbers aren't everything.
Numbers are not everything. And Marcus, I got to agree with you. John needs to grow up.
Yeah, I agree. But is it too late? I mean, how old is he now? I mean, it's all, you get your eyes open and you grow up, when he's not there yet, but if you're 30, it's too late. Sorry. And I just, even when he had the problems a couple of years ago, I was hoping that someone in that organization, or he would reach out to John Lucas and his group, or someone like that would take him up. And But the problem is here, I've learned this over years of, my struggles with stuff and other things in coaching. You can say and love and want a person to do the right thing all you want. If they're not ready to listen to you, accept they're not doing the right thing and change, you're just yelling at the wall. You're banging your head against the wall. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there with John. But Mo, even when this guy was playing great, he's a little guy. It's hard for a little guy, I think. You see Allen Iverson had a great run in Philly, but you look at his teams besides that 1 year, they didn't really go far. I mean, anybody that has a ball in his hands that much, I think it's hard for them to win. You can say Steph, but Steph is a far different player than these guys.
Well, he's way more athletic than Steph.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Thomas, little guy, won championships. It's the people around him and what you do. Isaiah Thomas would do anything to win. He ran on an ankle that was swelled up 3 times its size to try and win against the Lakers. Guess who sees that? Everybody, including your players and your coach. And that's the problem.
But see, here we go. Isaiah would do anything to win. This guy's going to do anything to make sure he gets his 25 to 30 points. If we win the game, fine. But I'm going to get mine now.
Yeah, but I mean, he averages 6 or 7 assists. So, but
he's a good passer.
That's why I say you need people around him or somebody to get to him. Say, listen, man, you made all these mistakes. You've done stupid stuff. You're one of the most talented players in the league, even now. Why don't we wipe the slate clean, start over, and let's start over with your attitude and your style of play. So let's start over with you being positive, giving energy to the team, being a leader, looking for your teammates, making them better. And then they will, in turn, make you better. And guess what? Your numbers are going to be pretty much the same anyway. Except you'll be winning. You'll be winning now. And guess what? You're going to make a crap load of money, and you're going to have fun. It'll actually be fun.
Marcus is making some great points here. And I don't know who he runs with. But if it's those cats that were pointing guns with him that time, that is a toxic circle. And I totally agree with Steph's IQ and approach to the game are far different than Ja's approach to the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most important things when you're a superstar like that is who you surround yourself with. Yes, man, guys that'll say whatever you want, or friends that'll keep you accountable and hold you accountable. But the problem at that level, and Marcus knows this, he's been around this. Like when I was working out players in the off season and stuff, if you get, say, some high level guy, right, and he hires you to train for a month, and you make a deal, we're going to get up at 8 a.m, we're going to run in the gym, get your shots up, then we're going to get in the weight room, then we're going to come in at night, and we're going to work, we're going to get you better, it's going to be great. And then, he's going to pay you, $2,000 a week, whatever it is. And then after the first couple days, he doesn't show up in the morning. He's not there. And you text him, where are you? Oh, coach, I slept over. I'm sorry. I'll be there later. And then in the evening session, you're in the middle of it and you're getting a good workout. He goes, coach, I got some stuff to do. I got to leave here. The problem is he's paying you. So if you say, you can't say, no, you got to stay, or, you can tell him, listen, Ricky, I'm up here at 7 a.m. in the gym, and if you don't show up, that's disrespecting me as a coach and a person. And you wouldn't want me to do that to you, so you shouldn't do that to me. And we agreed upon that. Now, he's going to say, you're right, and he's going to change, or he's going to say, No, you're not. You know what, Coach? You're not the guy for me. You can go home tomorrow. I'm going to get somebody else.
Yeah,
That happens all the time.
yeah.
But it's the guys like Steph or, all the Kobe, all these guys that are those type of players wanted to be coached hard, hold me accountable, push me. And, if I'm working out Steph and I say be there at 7 in the morning, he's going to be there at 6 o'clock, probably shooting. And if at the evening I say, Steph, we're going to make 100 threes, and we make 100 threes, he's going to go, Coach, let's make 150. Okay. That's the difference.
Amon Ross St. Brown catches 202 balls a day from the jug machine. I mean, that's just him doing that. He heard somebody does 200 a day. He said, I'm going to do 202.
Yeah.
That's working on your craft.
I tried to, I'm going to Reno in a couple of weeks to put some workouts together for a couple of high schools there. And one of the points I always say is, listen, you guys, practice an hour and a half a day, and that's great, but that's not enough. Not even close to being enough. It's to get to the next level, you got to go practice another hour and a half on your own every day. And I'll say, listen, we're in the gym at 9 on a Saturday morning. You got buddies that are sleeping, eating donuts, playing video games right now. You made the sacrifice to come in the gym. That's great. But now we have 2 hours to go to work and get something out of this and work hard. And if you do that, you're ahead of everybody else. That's what happens.
And you have to do good work. You can't half-ass it.
Yeah, so I've been looking up some people talking and stuff, what I'm going to tell these kids. And there was a guy that was involved with the Laker organization when Kobe Bryant was a player. And he came at training camp. He came into the morning practice early and saw Kobe down on the court by himself, working on basic moves like step through, one dribble, pull, all this stuff, that's really basic. And he was working hard for an hour. It was hard, working hard. And he said, well, that's different. And so he did it again in the afternoon session. And he said, I had to go talk to him. I said, Kobe, you're the best player in the league, one of the best players in the league. Why are you going through drills that I teach to junior high kids? I teach to high school kids. Why are you doing these drills? You know what his answer was?
What?
How do you think I got to be the best player in the league? So many players now, they go through the motions on drills and stuff. And I'm telling you, man, I've seen kids out there.
This leads me to another point. I think Chris brought it up when he talked about, so many guys miss so many games now. Do you think the money that these guys, I got this money no matter what, has taken the edge off some of the guys? Or has that always been the case? Because NBA money has always been good. I mean, it's astronomical now. I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but I know. I mean, 80s or 90s are nothing like it is today. But it's a good living. But here's the, it was different. Especially for guys like, hey, you want to take a night off? I'll go find somebody else. And so I got to pay you $100,000. Who cares? Now you say that somebody, you got to pay them $20 million. What is tough? But it's part of the money, but it's the person. It's your personality. It's your brains. It's your heart. It's how you love the game. And quite frankly, at the highest level, a lot of people have lost that. They've lost, that love for the game and that driving force. I mean, come on, man. I played against Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, whoever you want to talk to. Those guys were playing the hardest in practice, putting the most extra work in, and loved the game and never wanted to take a game off.
I like this, Marcus. Thank you for that. Pay before you deliver. I mean, pay before you deliver. That's kind of what it is.
It's about they draft on potential. They draft 19-year-old players on potential, and they pay them $10 million a year for the next 3 years on potential. They haven't played anything, but that's the way the business is. You can't change that. It's the way it's always been. I mean, there's no league except the minor leagues that you're going to play, and depending on how you did this month, that's how much money you're going to make. That never happens, and it's not right for the players either. You get hurt or whatever, but there's just the love for the game.
That's
I
it.
think
That's
Mark's
it.
there's been a ton of players that signed big contracts and just go to the list, and then they go to crap and not the players used to because they didn't love the game. So that's why if you're an NBA team, you better be damn sure who you're drafting, not their basketball skills only, but mostly their head, their heart, and their competitive desire and their willingness to be coached.
Dan Campbell talks about that all the time with the draft, and the Lions do. I said, we're looking at more than what his 40 time is. We want to see what makes him tick, if he can fit our culture that we're trying to build here.
And when I was coaching in Dallas, Rolando Blackman, Brad Davis, and myself did a lot of the pre-draft workouts. And you're only allowed 4 players or 5 or 4 on the court, whatever it is, so there's limited to what you can do in a workout. So you do the shooting and the ball and blah, blah, blah. You do all that. And then what we always did at the end of the practice, 4 guys, we had them play 2-on-2, not the long way, but the side way. It's a shorter court, but it's still, it's not half court. You got to run.
You got to run.
Play 2-on-2, limited fouls. And you don't have to take the ball out of bounds if it goes through a hoop. You just push it and push it out and run. And are we looking for their skill level? No, not really. We're looking for who's going to give up, who's going to yell at their teammate, who's going to, this is bullshit, we're not doing this anymore. Who's going to get frustrated? Who's going to kick the basketball? That's what we're looking. Who's going to suck it up and encourage their teammates? Who's going to keep going no matter what? Who's not going to get frustrated? That drill was what players didn't understand. They thought it was a conditioning drill. No, it wasn't. Okay, in the fourth quarter, are you going to be the guy that gives up or the guy that keeps going? The guy that complains or the guy that sucks it up? The guy that's on his teammates yelling at him or the guy that's encouraging him? That's what you find out. And then they would go upstairs, and Dallas Mavericks had one of the first sports psychologists on staff. And he interviewed the players for an hour on tape. And he would ask them some basketball questions, but non-basketball questions.
And I tell you, I mentioned this before, of all the major sports, you got to have teamwork in all of them. But I think basketball is the ultimate. And if you're not connected, I don't care how much talent you got, it's going to be a problem.
You look at the Clippers. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, every team in every sport needs teamwork and all that stuff. It's very important. But you're right. Baseball, you might even not, you're in the outfield, not even talking to anybody. You're batting in your order.
Catch it when it comes to you. Hit it when it comes to you.
Yeah, football, offensive line has to be together, but they don't really know what the receivers are doing. And the quarterback and the running backs have to be and the quarterback needs to know everybody. And then the offense doesn't even have to know who the defense is. They don't go to meetings with them. So, in basketball, you are offense, you are defense, you are part. And there's only 5 guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Mo, this has just been a fantastic conversation. And really, it's been about not the X's and O's of the game, but the mindset that makes for winning and successful basketball players. But we are running out of time. I do want to just kind of take a look at where we are right now. I could start in the East, where it just so happens my beloved Detroit Pistons are sitting atop the East at 8-2. I'm like, wait a minute, is this Chauncey, Sheed, and Rip and those guys? No, it's Cade and the boys. It's been a terrific start to the year for the Pistons, Mo.
Yeah, like we talked before, they have a great coach. He's changed the whole mentality there. Cade Cunningham is really a great player, and now that he has players around him that he trusts, and they've been, I heard one of them, and then, of course you should know this. They've been through stuff together, and they've kept their core together, and that's how you grow as a team. And that's what they're doing. They're doing it the right way instead of making, wholesale changes because you're not happy with something. And that with their talent, I still a little scared about their size and their center position, but
I agree.
playing great.
But Mo, and you called it dead on the head, man. There are 5 or 6 guys on this team that lost 29 straight games. Still not even 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
That are winning
that's an
now.
experience. I mean, you look back in the '80s or whatever when the Celtics just used to beat the Pistons all the time. Every playoffs they beat them till they finally got over the hump. Same with and it's same with the team. We were terrible. And now last year we were a playoff team, and now look what we're doing. We're enjoying it.
Yeah, Pistons sit at the top at 8-2, followed by the Cleveland Cavaliers 7-3. The Knicks 6-3. Another surprising team, Chicago Bulls, Mo 6-3. Now, are they for real?
Yeah, I mean they have talent. They have young guys that are coming through for them,
Josh
and
Giddey. Great.
yeah, and they have a legitimate center. You know,
Yep.
they have a legitimate center that can score, and they're still inexperienced. I think they'll, if they can win one playoff series moving forward, it's a long season. But that'll be a great because let's face it, the last few years they're just wallowing in the bottom of the, not making the play. It's just terrible. Now they have a purpose.
But why has a guy like Vukovic moved around so much?
I don't know. I mean, I value him. It could be personality. I mean, I think he's a stubborn guy, like a lot of Europeans are kind of at that position. And, maybe he's rubbed some teammates or people wrong, but the guy is one of the most skilled centers in the league.
He's averaging 17, he's averaging a double-double.
Yep.
17 points, 10 rebounds, shooting almost 60% from the field.
Yep. Yeah. He found his spot.
Yeah, so we got Chicago's right there. We're still 10 games in, so but now are we beginning to get an idea? Like you look at the Pacers, who were in the finals last year, they're 1-9.
Yeah, and so is
I know
Washington.
they lost Halliburton.
Yeah, they lost Halliburton and Turner. Their starting center they lost, right? Because he's with the Bucks now. So they lost two of their big players. The top 6 players from last year are gone. So yeah, they're going to struggle, but they have hope in the future. Though the Washington, whatever they are now, are they Wizards anymore? I don't know what they are. I mean, they're 1-9, and they just need to start selling people and see what they can get for them. I mean, and then New Jersey's 1-9. Brooklyn, I mean, and they're what they always are. And well, you know what you're finding out? You're finding out who the top 10 teams are and who the bottom 3 or 4 are. Charlotte, Brooklyn, Indiana, and Washington. They're in the bottom. They're going to be there for the rest of the year.
I got one of my good buddies is a Pacer fan. He lives in Indy, and he used to always complain about Miles Turner. He should be averaging 20 and 10 and all that. I'm like, this dude does a lot of things for that team, man. He blocks shots. He could shoot the three a little bit.
Yeah. You know what players average 20, 25 points a game? Those players are the players that don't have teammates around them because they have to score. Indiana had 7 guys that averaged double figures. That's part of the deal. There's only a certain amount of shots that go up. But, the really disappointment for me in the East is Orlando. Orlando is my workhorse pick, and they're 4-6, even behind Boston, who doesn't have their best player, Tatum. And I don't know what's going on in Orlando. There might be injuries there, but,
Baines is not. Baines can't get shots. I was reading about them today, Paul. They brought in Desmond Green from Memphis. And by the way, when they traded for Baines, Morant was available too. And they didn't want Morant. They wanted Baines. I'm sure they had to give up more for Morant. This was back over the summer. And that reminds me, I do want to go back to one more thing. You made a great point earlier. I've heard you say it before. You talked about NBA players know within 15 minutes if a coach knows what he's doing or if he doesn't. Do you think when Licio, the coach at Memphis, came in there, Ja heard him speak, maybe he heard his accent or something, I don't know, and thought, this guy don't know what he's doing?
I don't think that's the case there. I think it's he's a European coach. He's coached over in France. He's won championships there. He's not from the NBA tree. So here's the difference. In Europe, coaches don't bow down to players. They don't care if they're their best players or not. They scream at them after they come off their bench. They scream at them in the practice. They demand everything. They hold them accountable. That's what European coaches do. That's what they're like. And Ja Morant's never had that before. So that's probably rubbed him wrong because, I dealt with Chris Finch, the head coach of Minnesota. We won a championship in the D League in RGV. And he coached over in Belgium, won championships, Germany and England. And he was a head coach at like 30 years old. But he's an American. Went over there and was successful. So he knew the NBA lifestyle, and he had to change. Now he holds people accountable. Even in Minnesota, some of the players he tells it like it is, and he gets on us and holds us accountable. And that's really well and good. But this guy, one thing that the Rockets did when they brought Chris over and we coached in the D League together, they hired me as the associate head coach because I've been around the league for a long time and I knew the ins and outs. And I encouraged him on some things and was in his ear. And Chris, just kind of tone down a little bit, and we'll get him doing what we need him to do and stuff like that. But this guy, I don't know if he has. He probably didn't have a coach like that in Memphis. So I'm telling you, he didn't. I don't think Ja doesn't saw him in practice and his accent or whatever and said he doesn't know what he's doing. I think the coach said, "Hey, Ja, play some damn defense. Help your teammates out. Pass the ball," and he didn't like it. I think that happened more than the other.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Thank all you guys out there. We love your questions and comments. Mo, we got to get out of here. And next week, I want to ask you about, you talking about Licio would yell at his players. I think it was Steve or somebody mentioned Monty Williams. Steve mentioned Monty Williams like to yell at his players. And next week, I want to ask you about this. How far can you go with that where it's too much and not – we didn't get a chance to get into the Western Division. It's almost kickoff time. I know you guys are about to watch football.
And I'll give you a heads up on next week. It's all depending on who your players are, how the coach acts, and the situation. And for a long time, coaches have come up to the best player, Ricky, hey, you're the best player, and I'm going to get on you. I'm going to yell at you in the video room. But just know that it's so everybody else hears what I'm saying, and you can take it.
That's a good way to do it. And Mo, give me that information on that round table. I want to put that on our page because I think that's going to be something great that everybody might want to check out on the Lenny Focus round table.
Will do, man.
Okay. For Paul
Go
Mokeski,
Pack. Go Pack.
For Paul Mokeski, I'm Ricky. I can't say go Pack, Mo.
Come on, man.
See you guys next week. Thank you, everybody.
See you, Rick.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing. Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.